Alrighty, good evening, families. We'll get started in about 3 minutes. Good evening, everyone. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kayla Tingley. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the graduate assistant for family programs, and I'll be moderating tonight. Thank you so much for joining Family Support Series. This is our first one of the semester, so super excited about that. And I will pass it off to the family team to introduce themselves.
Good evening, families. My name is Camille Clark. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I am the Associate Director of Family Programs in the Office of New Student and Family Programs.
Hello, families. My name is Mackenzie Nelson. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Assistant Director of Family Programs in the Office of New Student Family Programs.
Awesome. So tonight we have very special guests. We're joined by members of our own office on the new student programs team. They're here to discuss their support in the new student experience. They'll answer pre-written questions as well as any questions you may have. So tonight, while our panelists are speaking, feel free to use the Q&A button, not the chat button at the bottom of your screen. The chat button will be used to show you what questions or any announcements we have during the webinar. We also have live transcripts and closed captioning for those who may need it. And this session will be recorded and posted to our website and YouTube channel. Alrighty, I will pass it off to the new student programs team to introduce themselves.
Awesome. Hi, families. My name is Jonathan Holcomb. I use he, him pronouns. I am the Associate Director for New Student Programs, and I will be providing a little bit of information about what our area of our office does to support first-year students, some of the programming that we offer to support those students, and how we work to support all first-year students as a whole through some of our programming and initiatives that we work on the greater university level. I have two of our student leaders that work with me and my team to support our programs and to facilitate them. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves and share a little bit about who they are and why they want to work with first-year students and why they think this work is so important. So Riley, let's start with you.
Hi y'all. My name is Riley Back. I am the New Student Programs Coordinator here at New Student Family Programs. I am a undergraduate student in my senior year. I am a history major with 2 minors, one in conflict analysis and resolution, and the other in tourism and event management. I love working with first year students. I personally think that I had a very tough time my first year, and I have kind of see this as a way of me ensuring that other people have much better of an experience than me and are able to prosper here at Mason. I'll pass on to Clarice.
Hello, my name is Clarice. I'm part of the first year engagement team. I wanted to be part of this because I was a Patriot leader over the summer and I really enjoyed working with students coming into Mason, and I also love event planning. I'm currently a junior and I'm studying IT.
All right, awesome. Thank you. All right, so let's get into our content. Let's see if I can get this moving. All right, so we already did our introductions. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do. I'm going to talk to you about our first year connections program, which is our event series that we have for first year students. And then I'm going to have Clarice and Riley answer some questions for you all, talking about what it's like being a first year student at Mason, some of the supports that we have to offer, and then we'll have time for you all to ask us some questions at the end as well. So moving on, I've already introduced myself, but I am the associate director of our area of the office. So if you think of our area, our office operates in 3 different buckets. We have the family programs team, which facilitates this, and then we have the orientation team, which you all probably went through family orientation over the summer. My area of the office, we handle everything after orientation for the first year students. So that encompasses quite a lot of different things. First off being our first year connection series. So that is programs that we do both on campus and off campus throughout the first year as a way to get students more acclimated to campus, connected to campus resources. We try to do off-campus trips to get students out into the local community, give them experiences that they may not get to do otherwise in their first year at a greatly reduced cost to help students like build connections, do fun activities. So I'll get a little bit into the specifics of what some of those events are in a little bit. Communication. So we handle and coordinate communication to all first year students that come into Mason. This is primarily done through a newsletter that we call the First Year Focus. As your students came into the university, they were already enrolled in that newsletter. And so that is all encompassing from across the university events and important dates that we think students should be aware of. That includes dates like at drop periods, like important dates that they should be aware of, like when they're registering for their next semester of classes. So that is a really important resource that I'll go over a little bit more. And then we also facilitated and planned the preamble program, which was the Welcome Week program that your students came through right after that they moved into campus, if your students live on campus. And then we have also coordinate Welcome to Mason, which is a series of events that happen for first year students during the first 5 weeks of classes. So we are almost at the end of Welcome to Mason. So your students have probably already been through a lot of those. Or first 6 weeks of classes, excuse me. But more events, I'm not going to go over those as much because we are at the end of that. But if your students are looking to participate in Welcome to Mason, they can find that on Mason 360. All right, so let's talk about that first year focus a little bit. Like I said, this is your students are already enrolled in this newsletter. It is encompassing across the university, not just our programming. All your students are already enrolled in it. And then we have a whole curriculum for the first year students that I'm not going to go too into. Because it's mostly used for internal uses, but we are very intentional about what we send to your students, the timing of when we send it to your students to make sure that they are getting all the information that they need to be successful in their first year in a timely manner. And so if you're looking for a way of like, how can my student like stay informed of what's happening on campus or what to look out for, that newsletter is going to be their best bet. And so that is sent twice a month, once at the beginning of the month around the 1st, and then another time around the 15th, depending on where that falls, like in the week. But so your students can expect that. We also have this first year student resource hub. And so that is on our orientation website. I also have QR codes for this later in the slides if you don't want to copy and paste that long link. But this is all encompassing of all the different resources we have available for first year students. So if your student is saying this, like, I'm having a hard time with this and you're not really sure where to send them and they don't really know where to go, the first year student resource hub is a really great place for them to start because it's separated by different categories, whether it's like academically focused they need help with, or it's more social focused that they're looking to get more connections on campus. So really send them to that place. It's also accessible to you all as family members, so you all are more than welcome to go in there, click around, see what all we have available for students, because it's a really great way to help your student, as if you all are also informed of all that we have available and you can direct students to that as well. First year connection. So this is our program series that we have for first year students across the first year. So it's a mixture of on-campus and off-campus programs. This is also inclusive to first year transfer students. So because we do a lot of transfer specific programming as well. Some examples of what that looks like. So for our off-campus programs, these are typically day-long excursions, about 8 hours. For all of these, we provide the transportation, we provide meals, we provide snacks, and then we pretty much eat the cost of the participation cost of whatever the activity is, and basically greatly reduce what it would cost the student to do. And we typically center it around a particular theme. One example, this past spring, we did an arts in DC trip into the city, mostly centered around, we went to the Kennedy Center where they had Matilda in concert. They were showing the movie Matilda with a live orchestra playing the soundtrack, and then also Danny DeVito was there live narrating as well. So it was a really cool event for the students. They loved to get to see Danny DeVito. We took them out to dinner in DC, and then we took them to an art gallery in DC as well. So it was a full day experience. Students had a great time, and so these are the type of trips your students can experience. We are actually doing a fall version of our Arts in DC or arts trip, but we're doing Arts in Alexandria this year. So we're going to be going to the torpedo factory in Alexandria and doing some things in Old Town Alexandria. Registration for that will open up soon. That's going to happen in early October. And then we also are doing a first year camping trip. So if your student likes to do outdoor things, wants to meet new students, that's a great opportunity. Registration for that is open. So you can scan that QR code, send that to your student, and they can register for that. It's $25 for the entire weekend. That covers the cost of like equipment rental. There's equipment that they can rent if they don't have like all the camping gear with them available on campus. So our off-campus programs office has rental equipment, covers the cost of their food for the weekend, transportation into the camping site, all of that fun stuff. So really great opportunities coming up. We'll have more programs posted throughout the semester. We're solidifying some of our other plans for like November and December. So you can see those pop up on our website in Mason 360 pretty soon. And then we also have our on-campus program. So each spring semester we do Transfer Nation, which is primarily for our new transfer students to come meet together. We have campus offices that work with transfer students come and talk about their resources available on campus. And it's a really great way for students to get to meet each other and meet other transfer students and learn about their stories. And then we also have our first year meetups, which I'm going to pass over to Riley because our student leaders primarily facilitate those. So Riley, talk to us about our first year meetup programs.
Yeah, Jonathan. So our first year meetup programs are primarily designed to be additions to other programs, basically a way to get first year students to kind of feel more comfortable going into a space they may be uncomfortable with other first year students. Two examples that we've done recently were Fourth Night. This is an event that's done at the Rack Field, which isn't gone over in any of the tours. So we decided let's have everyone meet at the Johnson Center, which is a big place here on campus, and walk them over. We had a ton of students attend, and we saw most of them hang out after, which is great. We also did help with the 9/11 Day of Service. Every year, George Mason does a event for 9/11 where there's a bunch of different like things you can do for charity, like painting plant pots for places that need them, or composting cardboard, or making dog treats and dog blankets out of like fleece. We brought a bunch of first year students there and basically helped to do something good for the community. We do a lot of these. Our goal is to have about 4 a month going forward.
Yeah, and so like Riley said, so we are currently in the works for October and November programming, so those will be posted soon. Your students can see those on Mason 360. Will be the primary place that they'll see those, and we'll also be putting them in the newsletter as well. And then we were also we will have some programming for National Transfer Student Week. So if your student is a transfer student, the week of October 20th through 26th, we'll be working with campus partners, like not just our office. We'll be doing programming throughout that entire week to celebrate our transfer student population. So more information about that coming soon as well. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Riley to talk about, why we find this work to be so important from the perspective of one of our students who's been working with us for quite a while. So Riley.
Yeah, so the reason why we feel it's necessary to offer support for the first year is because it's starting to feel like an information overload. You are moving from graduating high school, which or even just like being in the workforce, to moving into a university space, which is a lot. There's a lot of information being thrown at them, whether it be emails coming in ahead of time or orientation, and it overloads a lot of people. It also allows for students to connect more deeply with the resources that they need. There are a lot of resources that George Mason offers, not just academic, but also mental health, physical, stuff like that, that a lot of students haven't heard of. So this allows us to help show students to these resources. Finally, it also just allows for students to interact with campus resources, faculty, and staff in an environment that isn't just in the classroom or offices. It allows for a lot of networking and building of connections.
All right, awesome. So you've heard a little bit about what we do for our students. So now we're gonna so these are some prepared questions that we have for Riley and Clarice to answer and talk about their experience with us, their experience as first year students, and some advice that maybe you can pass on to your students as well. So you all have already introduced yourself, but go ahead and remind us again of your name, your year, and your major. And then talk to us a little bit about let's start with the most common question that you typically get from first year students, or that you have gotten from first year students. Let's start with that question. So let's start with you, Riley.
Alrighty, hey again, I'm Riley Back. I am a senior here at Mason and I'm a history major. The most common question I probably get from first year students is, what is Mason like? And it's a tough question to answer because Mason is not the same experience for every single person. Mason is unique in the fact that we have such a diverse campus with so many different resources that are open to students. Whether it be the fact that we have over 400 RSOs on campus, which are like clubs and stuff like that students can join. And all you need to create your own RSO is 6 friends and a staff member. That's it. So even if you can't find a club that fits you, you can find it there. We just offer a lot to different students, so every student will have their own unique experience here at Mason. Pass over to you, Clarice.
Hello, I'm Clarice. It's my junior year and I'm studying IT. The most common question I've gotten is, what is the best dining hall? I can't exactly answer because I've only tried 2 of the dining halls, Ike's and Southside. I have heard good things about the Spot and the Globe. So I've heard mixed reviews on everything, but I've definitely heard people say they like all of them. Like, some people have their own preferences. If you like more of, I think, like salads and food like that, the Spot or the Globe is good. And then like there's a wider range in Ike's and in Southside, different cuisines.
All right, awesome. All right, so next question for you all. So thinking back to your first year experience, what is one thing that you wish you knew in your first year that you learned after your first year was over?
I can take this one first. So I had definitely a unique first few months here at Mason. I broke my foot a week before I moved in, so I was felt very hindered in terms of like getting no campus resources. But one thing I wish I knew beforehand was that there is um so many different like majors here at Mason because I'm a history major. I'm in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, but there's so many other colleges that are so interesting that aren't really talked about, such as like the Carter School for Conflict Analysis and Resolution, which I now minor in. We have a College of Education and Development, a College of Public Health, um, Engineering and Computer Science. We have so many different options that are available to our students here, and I think it's quite amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
I have 3 things. I
Right.
didn't realize them at the beginning, but this past year I've been taking more advantage of free tickets for some of the arts for students.
Mhm.
I've seen like Chinese and Indian performances, acrobats, and there was an opera performance, and then there was even one where I could meet an author and there was a book signing. So those were all at the Center of the Arts, very cool. There's also free group fitness classes for students, which I didn't know my first semester. I've tried different ones like yoga and cycling and Zumba, all of which have been very fun and I want to go back. And then carnivals too. Um, in the spring, we have one that's called Mason Day, and then in the fall, like we mentioned before, we have Fourth Night. Both have been great. I went to both this year, and the spring one, which is Mason Day, there's a headliner too, so it's like a concert at the in the evening as well.
Yeah, I think Clarice brought up a lot of really great points. Like, one is that we have a lot of free programming that happens on our campus, and a lot of it has a lot of free food associated with it too, which so if your student likes free food, that's something that on Mason 360 that you can find pretty easily. Is like free events is a tag that you can do. So like if your students looking for low cost ways to get involved on campus, there's plenty of those opportunities, and free resources available on campus. Center for the Arts being a big one, as well as athletic events, free tickets with their Mason IDs, for both of those. All right. Kind of along the same lines, what was one of your favorite events that you attended in your first year?
I guess I'll go first with this one. So one event I really enjoyed in my first year was we have a like full teaching kitchen on campus. It's in the Peterson building. I in my freshman year there was a like cooking class that was being taught there. It was free of charge. Anyone could come and just learn, and I had so much fun. It was mainly food that like could be cooked in the dorms here on campus, which was really intriguing to me, and it helped me a lot with getting like a lot of unique foods I can have on campus.
My favorite event was like after my first week of going to Mason was the Get Connected Fair because I ended up meeting one of my good friends there. And since we met then, like we would have our weekly Friday Chick-fil-A lunches. And that's just a memorable fun thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Get Connected Fair, if you all aren't familiar with it, is a semesterly fair that we have where all of our clubs, organizations, campus departments table and give out free stuff and help students figure out how they can get involved in those. If they didn't attend the fall one, they can still join clubs and organizations by looking at Mason 360 or by and finding the specific information. There's also one that happens in the spring semester, right at the about week 2 of the spring semester as well. So there will be another opportunity to attend one of those if they haven't already. And then we're gonna do one more question and then we'll turn it over to you all to ask us some questions. Any advice for the family members who are supporting first year students? No, they're about four weeks in, so they're maybe getting their feet a little wet in college. So what advice do you have for supporting their students moving forward with the rest of their year?
Tough question. I'd say the best thing that like my parents have done for me is they've allowed me to kind of explore campus on my own. They've allowed me to kind of learn how to live on my own and be good at doing it, while still offering support whenever I reach out. Like, I call my parents basically weekly, and I'm like, give them a little rundown on the week, and they offer any advice that I need then. So allowing your student to kind of explore Mason and like trust in them to be able to like live as an adult is, in my opinion, like very important here at Mason.
Yeah, that's great advice. Absolutely. Clarice?
My advice is for any student or especially off-campus students, it can be hard to get involved and make friends. In classes, it could be one of those things where you just attend class and leave right after, so it can be hard to get involved. But I'd recommend to tell your student and encourage them to find something they're interested in. Maybe just that one club or group is a way to them to make even just one friend. And we do have that Get Connected Fair. It just passed, but there's also something called Yard Fest. It happens during family weekend and it's on October 19th. So that's another way to see what clubs we have, and it's not too late.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, so just a few more slides, and it's like what you can take away from this presentation is the first year focus newsletter. That's the main source of information that your students are going to want. And then there's that resource hub that's linked here, and Mackenzie shared that link in the chat as well for you all. And then there's also a tag on Mason 360 or a group that your students can join called the First Year Experience Group. If they go into Mason 360 and they add that, they will receive additional notifications from us about our off-campus trips that we're doing when registration opens. So if they are really interested in those events, that's the best way to get like the first dibs on those tickets. So highly encourage them to sign up for that group as well on Mason 360. And then here's just a reminder of all of our events that we're going to have upcoming for the next semester. I've got the registration link on here again for you all, just in case, but These are all on Mason 360 as well. We have our overnight camping trip, which is going to be October 4th through 5th at the Shenandoah River State Park. Spots are already filling up, so if they're interested in registering, make sure that they fill that out quickly, sooner rather than later. And then we'll have our off-campus arch trip in October as well, and the registration should open for that next week. All right, so now we are going to open it up for you all to have questions, and then those are the first year resource hub and the event registration links for you all as well, if you all want to scan those while we are doing our final questions for the evening.
Awesome.
And it can be questions for myself, Riley, or Clarice about first year resources, first year programming, whatever.
Awesome. Thank you to our awesome new student programs team for all of these incredible resources and all the event planning they do. They do a lot of event planning, y'all. So they work really hard. I do have a couple questions for you all, but as a reminder, please put your questions in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Maybe let's start with a question for the students on the call. What is the best way you found to make friends when you're kind of a new student on campus?
Honestly, just go to events. Mason 360, basically all the clubs and organizations on campus post all their events on Mason 360. So if you ever are like wondering, if you ever have some free time, you're like, oh, what club should I go to? What should I do? My freshman year, I always would go and just hang out. That's how I met a lot of my lifelong friends who I've been friends with ever since my freshman year.
And so, yes, I have a similar answer to Riley. Just going to events, whether it's something you've been interested in or something new for you, just go. We have different clubs, so ones that are more culturally based, some that are just hobbies, and some that are applicable to your major and might help you with networking. Those are all great options. And also, on-campus jobs is another great way to make friends because you would see people regularly and you build some strong bonds there.
Thank you. So next question, for kind of on-campus events, where do some events take place? What are some popular places where students can go and find events and where they would be looking for in-person events?
Yeah, so some of the main places where events happen on campus, especially one that I feel a lot of students see as they're just walking by is Wilkins Plaza. We have a lot of vendors come there and like sell thrifted clothing or sell, like have little farmers markets set up. It's an amazing place. There's also a lot of just like constantly events going on there throughout the week. It's lovely. We also have the Johnson Center. We have Dewberry Hall, the bistro, as well as like Georgia's and some of the meeting rooms on the third floor. They have events going on there quite often. Dewberry Hall, Bistro, and George's are more like larger to mid-scale events, while the hub meeting rooms are usually more on the smaller side. Finally, a big area for events is the hub. We have a ballroom in there, and if any of you attended the family orientation, that is actually where you were for the majority of the day. The hub ballroom is great. There, it can be divided in two, so we could have two events running at a time. Actually, I think it'd be divided in three even. So yeah, there's a lot of events going on there. We also have VIP rooms as well as regular meeting rooms there.
Awesome, thank you. All right, how can my student learn more about student organizations?
So once again, definitely go into Mason 360 to just scroll through all the 400 plus organizations we have, or even look them up if you're looking for anything in particular. And we have the Spring Club Fair and then Yard Fest on October 19th. If you want to see tabling and get to meet people that are part of those clubs.
Awesome. So we've got a couple of questions in the Q&A chat about folks where it's harder to go for them to go to events for various reasons. So what are some advice you would give folks who it may not be their immediate instinct to go to a large event or things like that? What are some ways that they could get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw there were also some questions about like commuter students as well. So I'll kind of like wrap all of this together to answer some of those. So for our commuter students, a resource that I want to point out is our Contemporary Student Services Office. So they do specific programming for commuter students. They also host the Commuter Student Lounge, which is open during the weekdays on campus. It's a place for commuter students to come in between classes. They stock it full of snacks. They can like study there, do homework. It's a really good place if your student has like a lag between classes and they're a commuter student. It's a really great place for them to go and meet other commuter students in between their classes. But they also do events. They also have the off-campus student mentors. So if your student is a commuter student and they are having trouble like getting connected on campus, they don't have a lot of friends or connections yet, that is a really great resource for them. If you all could put the Contemporary Student Services link in the chat, that would be great. Because they will meet with your student one-on-one, talk about what they're interested in, and help them get connected to pockets on campus where they can get connected as well. If your students are not particularly like into like large events, doing stuff like that, I do recommend is like still going to Mason 360 and looking, because there are clubs and organizations that operate on like, they don't do a lot of in-person stuff. They have Discord servers where it's like if you have a student that likes to like, their thing is like gaming, we have our esports team that hosts like social hours through Discord, stuff like that. Unfortunately, there's not really a central place where all of those are housed. It's really like based on the different clubs and organizations. So really your student does have to put in a little bit of work to look for those. But if they are looking for those types of opportunities, looking into the student involvement office and connecting with them, they will have a better idea of particular organizations that may do stuff like that, like more online, more low-key programming as opposed to large-scale events, stuff like that. Any other advice, Riley or Clarice, that you all would have for that?
One thing I will say, because I'm also very introvert, I would go to the bigger events and just kind of like zone sidelines. Like
Mhm.
you like just going to the event helps a lot, and it can lead to a lot of like conversations that you probably didn't expect.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I will also say, because we have so many student organizations, finding a specific thing that your student likes to do and finding the organization that fits that. For example, if your students really like playing Dungeons and Dragons, I guarantee you there's a Dungeons and Dragons student organization. So having something to do, an activity would definitely help break the ice in social interactions, and you know your student will get to do something that they like doing while also meeting people and then possibly joining a club or um, getting involved that way. Awesome, thank you. So let's see. What are some pieces of advice for having a smooth college transition? We're getting towards the first 6 weeks of school. So what are some pieces of advice for having a smooth college transition?
Read your email.
Yeah, definitely. That has to be in the top three. Definitely reading email just to know what your professors are telling you. Make sure you're getting to the right classroom. And also it's a great way to see what opportunities there are, big events. You usually get email notifications for that. So like the career fairs, study abroad fairs. Also reading all the each syllabus you have for the class just to know what to expect. There are things that the professor might not explicitly say, such as extra credit and just more details about grading and assignments. And it's just a good way to not be surprised later on the semester. And then definitely taking advantage of being able to schedule appointments, whether that's with academic advising. Registration will be coming up in a few weeks, so knowing exactly what classes to take and making sure you're not taking extra time to graduate, like needing an extra semester. It's definitely good to meet with an advisor, an academic advisor. And then, like we said, there's contemporary student services, but we also have success coaching just to help you more all around.
Awesome. And I think the last piece of advice I would give for new students is encouraging your students to ask for help when they need it. I think that's a big difference between high school and college that a lot of them don't anticipate. In high school, most of the time teachers, guidance counselors are looking out for students when they're struggling. With we're a large university, not our faculty members aren't always able to see those types of things and intervene in a timely manner. And so it really becomes on a lot of the responsibility of the student, like just like we as adults, like when we need help, we have to ask for it. So encouraging your students to like talk to their faculty members if they're struggling in a class, to send an email to their faculty members, to go to their office hours, to go to our tutoring services, because we have the resources available. They just have to utilize them. And that's the biggest thing that we see our students. They're like, they get to the end, and it's like, I was just afraid to ask for help. And I was like, but if you had asked 3 weeks before, something could have happened for you to get that grade back up or something along those lines. So, but yes.
Awesome. Thank you all. Any last thoughts from our new student programs team before we wrap up? Alrighty, so those are all the questions we have for this family sports series. Thank you so much to the new student programs team for your presentation and all that you do for our first year students. As a reminder, this family sports series will be recorded and it'll be uploaded on our YouTube channel and website within the next 2 weeks. Also, Family Weekend registration is still open, so make sure to register on Mason Family Connection. Thank you all and have the best evening.